Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel Learn to Code with Anjali. So today we are going to start our course for the session 21-22 for Computer Science class 12. So as I've already given you the introduction of the course, I've shown you the syllabus, like what all we are going to cover throughout this session, what all topics are there, and in case there would be any changes by CBSE, I will be providing you the updated information about it, and we will be covering all the topics which would be there for your examination. In case something has to be added, removed, I will be informing you side by side, right? So today is our first class and I think all of you are very much energized, very much excited to start this course. In 11th you have already done Python. We are going to do more in Python in class 12th, but the first thing is, the first chapter you have is Python revision tour. So first of all, we are going to have a quick brush up of all the topics of Python which you have done in your class 11th, right? So we will be having this Python revision tour where we will go through all basic concepts like how you name the variables, how you use operators, if else, loop, everything, because in the board exams you get questions from this. So whatever you learned in Python in class 11th, minimum of 10 marks, minimum, I'm saying minimum out of 70, 10 marks is a huge thing. As you have seen that the whole Python is going to be of 40 marks in your theory paper. Out of 70, 40 marks is going to be Python, and out of that 10 marks would be from whatever you have done in 11th class. So it is very important. Revision tour, don't take it lightly. It is very important. We will be discussing it in detail and I'll make you practice a number of questions which can be asked in your board exam from these two chapters. So if you're following Sumita Arora, your first two chapters are revision tour 1 and revision tour 2, right? So we will be starting with revision tour 1 today. I'll be telling you few things. We will be discussing some questions. In every class you will be getting some topics and I will be giving you a homework as well. That is not a lot of questions, but yes, set of 4-5 questions which you should do after every lecture so that you keep practicing from the very beginning and you are always like perfect in whatever topic you have done, right? So now let's start with it. And before I start with this, I have to tell you one more thing. I'm a plus educator on Unacademy, which is India's leading online education portal. So my profile's link is given in the description. You can follow me over there. I take live classes for class 11th and 12th IP and CS over there, which are available both for free as well as paid classes are there. So you can first join in any of the free classes, feel how it is, how the interface is. If you feel good, you can join the plus classes for the complete course study for IPCS and for the other subjects as well. So whenever you come to Unacademy to watch any of my lectures, always use this code, that is Anjali Luthra, without any space. If you enter this, you will be able to access any of the free resources. Now let's begin. So first of all, write in the comments that how is your Python? How was your Python in class 11th? Whether you have done it very well or you are not too confident in programming, or you have done nothing at all and somehow just cleared 11th, right? So be honest, write in the comments below that where do you rate yourself from 1 to 10 in class 11th Python. So in class 11th Python, where do you stand? Are you at position 5 or you are at position 10? 10 means you know everything, 1 means you don't know anything, right? And 5 means you're average. So accordingly, rate yourself from 1 to 10 and write in the comments like how good you are in Python. And after a few days, I'll be taking the rating again to check whether there is some improvement or not, right? Okay, so let's begin. The first thing, as you know, Python is a programming language, right? To be specific, we have a number of other things in it, like it's an object-oriented programming language. Then you have another very important features of Python, like it is interpreted. The translator which we use over here is called interpreter, which reads one line at a time and then translates it into the machine language. Because of that, it is highly portable. It can work on any kind of machines. It is a high level language, means it has words which are matching to our normal English language. So the way we speak, we can write accordingly, and it is a very, very user friendly language. The syntax is so easy. It is so easy to learn and understand. And it is a versatile language. You can do a lot in Python, a lot. You can do basic programming, you can do database handling, you can do data analysis, you can do machine learning, that is artificial intelligence. So there are so many other things which you can do in Python. Even we can make apps, we can make websites. A lot of stuff is possible with the help of Python. So right now you're just making your basics strong. As you grow and as you go for higher courses, you will be becoming more aware about the options in Python, and then you can get an expertise in that particular field like data science. That is one of the major emerging fields in programming nowadays, and very highly paid as well, right? So let it be. So right now we are going to start from the basics. So Python is interpreted. Now you need a software where you work on it. Whichever software you use, there are two ways of writing Python code. One is interactive and one is scripted. Now what do we mean by that? So if I have installed Python IDLE in my computer, so this shell which you get, this is called interactive. Interactive means like you want to print welcome, so you write print in all small letters and we write welcome. So print welcome is going to print welcome on the screen. Simple. So you write one line and it gives you the answer of that line. If I write 45 plus 12, it gives me 57. If I write 2 raised to the power 4, it gives me 16. So the moment I'm writing a statement, it's giving me the result side by side. So I give a statement, it gives me the result. That is called interactive mode, because we're interacting. I'm giving a command, it's giving me the answer. Scripting is that you don't write single command. You have a complete block of code which is meant to do something, which is meant to do a specific task. Then it is called script. For that you'll click on file, then click on new file. This page will come. Here I'm supposed to write the code. And obviously you are not a total beginner in Python. You must have seen some code in 11th. So if I have to write a very basic program to multiply two numbers, I can write something like this, that A is 90, B is 20. I want to multiply these, so we write A into B, and I want to print their product. So I just print like product of A and B is C, so that it should print product of 90 and 20 is 1800, right? And this is my first program, so I write it as p1.py. It's already there, so it's okay. I'm just replacing it. Otherwise you could give another name as well. And now we run this. So run can be done with the help of F5, or you can just click run and run module. And once you run this, you will see the output, that is product of 90 and 20 is 1800. So this is just output. If I wanted that it should not be 90 and 20 always, because if I run it any number of times, it's going to show me the same result. Why? Because the numbers are same. 90 and 20 will always remain 90 and 20, and you'll always get 1800, right? So I don't want that. I want that I should be getting numbers from the users like this. So int, I want integers to be inputted. So input is the function which takes the value in the form of a string. So input always gives you a string, which we need to convert to our desired data type if it is not string. So my data type is not string, I want it integer. So we have function int, which will convert it to integer. So I'm going to write enter first integer or enter first number, whatever message. So that's how you get your first number. Similar way, you have to get the second number, which you're going to get like this: int input enter second number, right? And instead of integer, because user doesn't know what's integer and float, for user number is a number. So we just write enter first number, enter second number. I save this and I execute it again. This time you can see this prompt, it's asking me for the number. I enter 100, the other number I entered as 32. So my answer would be product of 100 and 32 is 3200. So this is a program which has some input, has some processing, has some output, and we have a multiple set of statements to be executed in a group. This is called scripting. So this is script mode, and this one is interactive mode. So you must remember what is interactive, what is script, right? Second important thing, the names. I have given A, B, C as variable names. Now a variable is something which can hold value, which can store some value, some data in it. That is called a variable. And we have a broader term for that called identifier. So identifier is basically any name given to anything, be it a variable, function, or anything else, using which you can identify something in programming. That's an identifier. So while naming an identifier, you have to take care of certain rules, which is very important. In your board exams, you will definitely get a question for 1 mark where they will give you 4-5 variable names, that is identifier names, and they will ask you whether they are valid or not, right? So what are valid identifiers? There are certain rules for valid identifiers. First of all, let me tell you what those rules are, and then we will see that how they are taken in coding. So rules for naming identifiers. Identifiers means the name given to a variable, to a function, to a file, anything. So rules for naming identifier in Python. The first thing is can have alphabets. You can use alphabets. That is, you can use capital A to Z, small a to Z, and digits 0 to 9. Only one special symbol, that is underscore, is allowed to be used in a variable name. Other than that, we can't use any other special symbol. So no other special symbol is allowed. No other special symbol is allowed. You can't even use spaces. No space is allowed. We cannot have a space in an identifier. No space is allowed. Your first digit can be an underscore, can be an alphabet, but it cannot be a digit. So first letter can't be a digit. And then we have a thing called keywords. Keywords are certain words which are already defined to your translator. The interpreter knows that if you're writing this word, it means this thing. So now it's my responsibility that I don't use that as an identifier. It will give me an error. So keywords can't be used. You will get to know the keywords as you use them. You might have used a number of in 11th, like for, break, while, if, else. All these are keywords in. So keywords are predefined words to the translator, but we are not writing here what does keyword mean. We say that keywords cannot be used. So keywords can't be used as identifiers, and your identifiers are case sensitive. Case sensitive means it is small or capital. So if you have declared A as 10 and you try to print small a, you will get an error because you have created a capital A, so you cannot use a small a at that place, right? For example, I write A is equal to 19 and then I try to print capital A, so I'll get an error that name A is not defined because we have defined small a, we haven't defined capital A here, right? So that would give you an error, right? One thing, that is a case sensitive. Another thing, if I want to take total salary, I can have total underscore sal is equal to 12,000. Perfect. There is no error. If you want to print, you can print it like this. It will be printed, right? But if I try to write total space sal is equal to 12,000. So it is invalid syntax because it's not taking total and sal as a single word. It's taking it as two different words, and two different words cannot have 12,000 in that, right? So that is a syntax error. It won't allow you to do that. If you try 1 num is equal to 34, again syntax error. Num 1 is equal to 34 is perfectly fine, right? So first letter cannot be a digit. You cannot have percentage sign in the variable name, right? So you cannot have any other symbol other than underscore in your variable name. I can't even have dot. So this is not allowed. I can't have, right? So I can't have spaces. I can't have any other special symbol other than underscore. Then first letter cannot be a digit. We have seen that. Keywords. Now, if I write if is equal to 89, perfectly fine. Why? Because I wrote capital I. So capital I if is not a keyword, right? Because if in small is treated by the interpreter. So if you write like this, this would give you an error, right? So you have to identify out of the given list of identifiers that which one is valid and which one is not. It is a very, very, very important concept in programming, and for sure you're going to get one question in board marks for this. So if you are clear about this, your 1 mark is done. It's confirmed in board, right? So I hope the rules are clear, right? In case of any doubts, you can write in the comments. There would be a link in the description for the Telegram group also for class 12, 21, 22, right? So that link I will be putting it over there, so you can join in the Telegram group as well, where you can ask your doubts and whatever we have to discuss, we can do that over there, and you can submit your assignments and everything. So that link is given in the description, you can join that, right? So okay, another thing for today's lesson which you have to go through is operators. So in a way you can take it as your homework or something. I'm going to tell you in brief about the operators. You'll study in detail. In the next class I will be asking you a number of questions based on that. So operators are the symbols which we use to work on your values. So basically what you have to work in this is, you should know about arithmetic operators, you should know about relational operators, you should know about logical operators and assignment operators. So these are the very basic operators you must know about. In arithmetic operators, we have this sign double star, which stands for exponent. Then you have multiply, divide, modulus, floor divide, plus, minus. In relational, you have greater than, less than, greater than equal to, less than equal to, and not equal to. In logical, you have not, and, or. In assignment, you have a single equal to sign, plus equal to, minus equal to, multiply equal to, means you can use it with any of your arithmetic operator, right? So these are your assignment operators. Now again, in board exams, you get one question where they will give you an expression like 3 plus 5 multiplied by 2 minus 5, anything like that, and you have to tell what will be the answer after evaluating this. So you get such kind of question as well. For that, you must know the precedence of operators properly, like which operator comes first, which has to be evaluated first. Like in maths, we have BODMAS, we have precedence levels in case of operators, like the highest precedence is of exponent, that is raised to the power, right? So if you write 2 raised to the power 3, that is 8. So first of all, raised to the power is solved. Then these 4 are on the same level. Multiply, this is division in points, this is integer division, and this is your remainder operator. So whichever comes first from left to right will be evaluated first. And then you have plus minus, same level, but whichever comes left to right, that is evaluated first. After these are done, relational are done. So after relational are done, logical works. In logical, first not is evaluated, then and, then or. After all these are done, assignment operators are done. So that is the precedence. So you are going to revise these precedents. I will be solving number of questions like this in the next class, which will be on Wednesday. So we will be having a video uploaded every Monday, Wednesday and Friday, right? And Sundays I will try to have a live session. I'll tell you from when are we going to start it. So on Sundays we'll have a live session where I'll be asking you questions and you can answer them over here, right? So this is about the very basics, the first class of Python revision tour. In the next class we will be working on operators and condition checking with the help of if else. And your work for today, in every class, don't close the video until you get the work, because assignment will be given in every class. So your worksheet for today is, you have a few names over here. You have to tell me which variable name, which identifier is valid, which is not. So the first one is vote, second one is total underscore marks, third one is else, fourth one is first position, fifth is number 1, sixth is my space book, seventh is for, eighth is x underscore value, ninth is underscore help, and 10th is by. Okay, so these are the 10 variable names, and you are supposed to write in the comments which ones are valid and which ones are invalid, right? So that's the worksheet for today. I hope you enjoyed the lesson and you got to know what we intended to do today. So today's motive was to identify whether a variable name is valid or not, right? I'll be seeing you on Wednesday with the next class. Till then, like this video, share it with all your classmates, all your batchmates, right? And all your juniors also, because this is class 11th Python we are revising, so that might help them as well. And by the time I upload more, keep watching, keep learning. Do subscribe the channel before you close this window. Bye for now.